This presentation will detail the life of Clyde Alvin Parker. Clyde Alvin Parker was born on March 17, 1927 in Ogden, Utah. He graduated from Ogden High School in 1945. Clyde had a very eclectic set of interests. In high school, he participated on the debate team, drama club, and played football and basketball. He also excelled in academics. Immediately after graduating high school in the year 1945, Clyde joined the Navy. Clyde was honorably discharged from the Navy in 1946. Shortly after he met his wife, they married in 1950. After spending 2 years engaged in religious service work, Clyde returned to earn his bachelor's degree at Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah. He graduated from Brigham Young with a Bachelor's of Science in Secondary Education with an emphasis in mathematics. Clyde continued on at Brigham Young University, where he earned his master's degree in counseling and guidance in 1952. Building off of his initial interest in education, Clyde entered a PhD program in educational psychology immediately after graduating with his master's at the University of Minnesota. While in graduate school, Clyde studied under Charles Gilbert Wren. His main area of focus pertained to the psychosocial development of college students, an interest that would be reflected in his future work to come. He earned his PhD in the year 1957. Upon his graduation in the year 1957, Clyde began his academic career at Brigham Young University in the Department of Education. Here, he obtained tenure as an associate professor. In the year 1965, Clyde accepted a position at the University of Minnesota within the Department of Educational Psychology. During his tenure at the University of Minnesota, he served several years as department chair. In the year 1983, Clyde left his position at the University of Minnesota and returned to Utah. Back in Utah, he served in a number of roles. He was appointed as Director of Counseling and Therapeutic Services at McKay D. Hospital in Ogden, Utah, a position that he held until 1991. He also remained involved in teaching by serving as an adjunct professor at the University of Utah. Throughout his academic career, Clyde published several notable books and articles pertaining to the psychosocial development of college students. He focused his expertise to develop ways in which student personnel workers can consult with experts in the field of psychology to facilitate development and growth in college students. One notable work in this regard is Encouraging Development in College Students, which was published in 1978 during the years that Clyde served as Educational Psychology Department head at the University of Minnesota. In this work, Clyde edited and compiled works from scholars in the field of development and developmental psychology to apply developmental theory to the fostering of psychosocial development unique to college students. Particular emphasis was placed on career development applications within the work of student affairs. In general, Clyde argued that efforts by the American College Personnel Association did not fully integrate developmental theories in guiding student personnel workers. Clyde stated, "What was not accomplished in the ACPA project was a careful examination, identification, or elaboration of psychosocial developmental theories which can be used to guide practitioners who work with students. Independent of the ACPA effort, however, is a growing body of literature in higher education that deals with the changes in students' lives, the factors that bring about those changes, and a modicum of theorizing about what does and should happen to students in the context of higher education." He also stated, "The practice of student personnel work depends on the practitioner having a much more comprehensive view and understanding of students and their environment, This paradox can be overcome only by some form of systematic eclecticism, in which different but complementary theories are brought together to round out the picture of the whole student. These two quotes from Clyde's book, Development in College Students, illustrates his focus on applying developmental theories to working with college students to help foster growth and development. Clyde was heavily influenced by scholars such as Piaget, who focused on developmental stages, Super, who focused on career development, and Perry, who focused on intellectual development, particular to college students. Using the works of these scholars, Clyde advocated for the integration of stage and hierarchical models of development to inform the work of student personnel on college campuses. Clyde stated, "Developmental stage theory has greater potential than other theories for assisting in the resolution of curricular decisions and for structuring those services and learning experiences which have traditionally been called student personnel work." Clyde was supportive of stage theories of development, or developmental theories that divide development into stages that are characterized by qualitative differences in behavior. Clyde believed that development occurs in distinct stages that are qualitatively different from one another. Stage theories are quite different from the beliefs of non-stage theorists who posit that development is a continuous process in which distinct changes are not always easily detected. To illustrate Clyde's support of these models, the model to the right depicts a stage theory-driven model that Clyde developed to assist the Student Personnel Office at the University of Minnesota. The model to the right details a model of education career development stages and supportive functions. Specifically, Clyde posited that students could be conceptualized as having distinct stages of career development, moving from left to right. Underneath each developmental stage are concrete tasks that student personnel workers can engage students in order to promote development. Clyde also applied these theoretical bases of As a whole, Clyde's academic work focused on integrating developmental theory to better serve college students. However, Clyde also published on the applicability of empirical practices used in college counseling centers. One notable work in this regard was Clyde's article detailing the applications of the MMPI-2 within college counseling centers. Results of Clyde's article suggested that the MMPI can be used to successfully predict motivation for counseling in a sample of college students. Representative of his commitment to education as a whole and his desire to assist the next generation of scholars, Clyde also co-authored a book devoted to assisting doctoral students in navigating the dissertation process. The book was originally published in the year 1979 and is currently in its third edition, most recently published in 2012. Clyde passed away in 2016 at the age of 81. He and his wife Eileen had 3 children. Clyde's academic and professional work as a clinician exemplifies that of a true scientist practitioner. Dr. Parker deserves to be recognized for his contributions to the field of psychology, particularly his focus on the development of the whole college student and his efforts to actively promote healthy development in college students through theory-driven approaches echoes the values of counseling psychology as a profession.